Alright, so this video might contain some spoilers for the old manga of Demon Slayer, so you've been warned. So guys, this is the last episode of season 3, A Connected Bound Daybreak and First Light, episode 11, which was an extended episode of around 51 minutes, and it was incredible. I mean, I think this is probably the best episode of the season. And for you guys that don't really know, my next video of Demon Slayer will be me ranking all the episodes of this season worst to best. So this is gonna be the next Demon Slayer video. So if you don't want to miss out on that, don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed this content, and let's go. So we start the episode with such a cool thing. I mean, when we have a black screen like this with subtitles, white subtitles like this, you know that the episode is gonna be crazy. It really gives a special feeling to the episode. It feels like a movie, and it kind of is as well. So I mean, we start with the episode with already one of my favorite OSTs of this season, with kind of a remix of Tanjiro or Nezuko's theme, but it's just remixed with some organs. So basically organs is kind of the piano that you see in church. This instrumental is amazing. And already we can see the animation is super good just at the start, where we just see Tanjiro chasing Hantengu, and most of all of that here is all anime only. This is not really in the manga. And again, here they're showing us really how well they're able to use the 3D and CGI for just the environment. So here with the forest, it looks really good. It doesn't look out of place, and it kind of, you know, it fits with Demon Slayer. This season we've seen the most 3D and CGI environment and just camera movement that they've been using around the characters running and stuff. This is the most that we've seen that in any season of Demon Slayer. So, and this is great because if you know, for the Infinity Castle arc, they're gonna use this a lot of this just 3D moving camera in the Infinity Castle. They're gonna need it. So here I think it's a really good training for the staff and the people that work at UFO Table to just get better with the 3D and get themselves comfortable. So when they get to the Infinity Castle, they're gonna know how to use the 3D and CGI at their best. So this is perfect. I love how here they're showing us every just kind of fucked up mentality of Gyoko, and we see as well with Zoak 10 talking about Hantengu being super weak here, just to show us really that those demons are just really fucked up. There's nothing redeemable about them, or you can't really feel pity for them. So it's a really good contrast from most demons that we've seen in the show. This is one of my favorite things of the swordsmith as well, is how the villains are really villains. They're just fucked up, you know. I think with the instrumental, with the organs, it's just perfect, man. Really cool sequence here with Tanjiro using sun breathing and then doing kind of a front flip. It's just, and Rengoku as well, where they just show us a shot of Rengoku. It's really a good intro that puts you in the mood for this whole episode. They really cooked for that. Like, if they can do those type of just intros for future episodes, we're eating good, guys. So after that, we start just where we left off last episode, with Nezuko about to attack Hantengu, and I love that you can see the trees just behind her, just coming towards us. It's a real cool shot. The only thing that they change is in the manga, there's kind of just comedic relief faces with Tanjiro and Nezuko when Genya trolls the trees. Here it's full serious, which I really like. That's not really in the manga, but Tanjiro tells us that dawn is approaching, the sun is rising real soon, so it's cool to just, you know, foreshadow a little bit that the sun is almost here. And by the way, Genya has the form, man. My man knows how to run. He literally has like the perfect form. It's funny, man. Here it's cool. They basically use kind of the cover for chapter 125 of Mitsuri and Zoakuten. They just used it here during a dialogue of Tanjiro saying that they have to hurry. Mitsuri is about to get crushed. It looks real good. Oh, and by the way, for the staff of this episode, I think we had a pretty good staff. I mean, we had Sotozaki. If you don't know, Sotozaki is kind of a meme just because he has done some bad episodes, and when he comes in, some people don't really like him because he just takes everything from the manga and he does exactly the same in the anime. I think in this episode he did such an amazing job. I mean, he did some really great episodes, like, or just moments, just like the Rengoku's death or against Akaza, and then in this episode with Nezuko and stuff. I think he did an amazing job, and he's really good with the emotional moments, so I don't mind Sotozaki. We had as well Surara, which is one of my favorite in terms of backstories. I think he's one of the best in terms of backstories. He did the Muzan backstory, which we're gonna talk more about. And here, this is where we see Tanjiro using kind of thunder breathing. He doesn't actually use thunder breathing really, but we're gonna talk more about it. Really cool effect here with the red when Tanjiro, you know, feels his leg just is hurting a lot. Which again, I don't know why the anime did that. You know, in the manga, he does get injured to his foot and his leg pretty bad, but in the anime, they made it like 50 times worse. Like in the anime, his leg literally gets crushed like a freaking towel. And then right after that, you know, Tanjiro is running for a whole episode, so I don't know why they decided to make his injuries so that bad in the anime. So here we get the kind of same thing as in the manga, with Zenitsu talking to Tanjiro about basically a technique that Thunder Breather users. Basically, they put all of the air in their legs, they focus everything on their legs, and they just explode in one go just to get really fast. And this is basically what Tanjiro does here. He doesn't really use thunder breathing, but he basically uses a technique, just the basics of what Thunder Breather uses. And we get a really cool sequence here. They basically reuse the same stance and just movement as when the Zenitsu uses thunder breathing for the first time. They basically copied Abe, what Abe did in season 1 with Zenitsu, but they did it with Tanjiro here, and it's real cool. Love that they keep that from the manga, where we see actually his muscles, and here this whole sequence here with Tanjiro doing this and exploding like this is just like Zenitsu in season 1, and it's a really cool callback. I love that as well, that they're keeping Tanjiro's eyes. When Tanjiro really gets in the zone and he unlocks his mark, his eyes turns all red, because obviously Tanjiro's eyes, normally the top of his eyes are always kind of black, but here when he does really get in the zone, his eyes just gets full red. It's real cool. And a cool little detail as well that's cool in the anime is that when Tanjiro breathes, we see that the breathing is kind of yellow for thunder breathing, but then it instantly changes to sun breathing. It's really cool. Really clean sequence here with Tanjiro about to cut Hantengu's head off. The fire looks amazing. The impact is really there as well. The colors are beautiful. Like this shot here, the compositing with the fire in Tanjiro's eyes and everything is really good, man. Here when we see Urami, who is basically the clone of Hantengu, which represent resentment, which it looks really cool the way it just gets bigger here. I think they really portray the how scary he is here, and him grabbing Tanjiro and the speed lines. The use of the speed lines here are really well done. And I wasn't sure in the manga if he was actually using Uroge's technique, but here in the anime it is confirmed that Urami is able to use it. In the manga though, Nezuko uses her blood demon art before he can use the attack really. Here in the anime he actually is able to land his attack on Genya and stuff, but the attack doesn't really do much. So really good sequence here with Nezuko using her blood, just throwing her blood on Urami and using her blood demon art. I think that was really well done. Here the whole thing with Genya just ripping off Urami's arm off and him starting to burn with Nezuko's blood demon art is just like in the manga. In the anime here we get an extra scene with Tanjiro trying to cut Urami's head off, but when he's about to do it, Urami starts to run backward. In the manga they just kind of fall off the cliff right after Genya starts to burn. There's not, like, we don't really know how they fall off the cliff. Here in the anime it's pretty cool to see Urami actually going backwards to not get his head cut off. Cool little detail here as well. We can see that Genya doesn't have his demon power anymore. Like his power just went out, so we can see with his eyes and stuff. It's like that in the manga as well, but I'm happy that they kept this little detail here. And this whole sequence with Tanjiro just in rage and saying to Urami that he's gonna chase him to hell even if he has to cut his head off there. That's gonna be there. A really cool shot with the red that's really popping out, the red with his eyes and the blood. It looks really good. I think the voice acting as well is so good in this episode. This is probably my favorite episode voice acting wise for Tanjiro this season. Amazing job from Anae-san. Then here in the anime it's pretty cool because in the manga Tanjiro is just like, I gotta go again, and then there's just a sword that just drops in front of him. In the anime we actually get to hear Moichiro saying Tanjiro's name, but like we don't know where Moichiro is. I mean, some people don't really know who's talking really, so it's a really cool sequence where Tanjiro is like, who the hell is talking to me? And here this sequence with Moichiro, you know, saying to Tanjiro, you gotta go man, and we see Kotetsu and Aganesuka coming in, just being in rage. It's like in the manga. It's a pretty funny sequence here as well, when Tanjiro is just standing like that, looking at Tokito, just smiling like that for like 20 seconds. I'm like, you gotta go man, you gotta go. But yeah, this whole sequence with Tanjiro grabbing the sword and saying thank you to Tokito, really cool sequence. And when the music comes in as well, we also get an anime only sequence here with Moichiro saying that he's counting on Tanjiro, and when he falls on the floor, there's some comedic relief with Aganesuka and stuff. But then we get this really cool sequence that we've never seen in the anime, where we get a sequence from the opening with basically Yoriichi and all the Demon Slayers, the Hashiras, and then Moichiro says, everyone's hope is in that sword. It's such a cool line. That's so cool that they did that. I did not expect that. That was super cool. This is the first time that they used something from the opening in the anime, I think. I could be wrong, but I think this is the first time, so it's really cool. Music is amazing as well. And then we get here this sequence again when Tanjiro uses a little bit of the thunder breathing technique and uses sun breathing, dancing flash, and the fire again here, the fire, the eyes of Tanjiro, the red is really popping out. There's really nothing to say, man. The animation in this episode is just constantly super good. We get some impact frames here, and basically the key animator for this whole sequence I think is Miwa, and Miwa is one of the best key animators for Demon Slayer or Ufotable in general, and those are some really cool impact frames with just the lightning here. And then here we get a sequence that looks a lot like the Rengoku 9th form that we see in the movie. It's pretty similar to that scene with Rengoku, so it's a cool callback here as well. We can really see a little bit of the blue and yellow from the lightning, the thunder breathing technique, but we see the sun breathing as well mixed with it. It's so cool. Like, you can really feel how fast Tanjiro is here. It's such a cool sequence, man. I mean, look at the compositing here with how much Hantengu is glowing from Tanjiro coming towards him with the just yellow and orange and lighting with even the sword. I mean, I've said it in other just reviews, but the compositing this season has been, at least to me, probably the best compositing that we've seen in Demon Slayer in general. I mean, the only thing that you really can compare in terms of compositing is obviously the movie and maybe episode 10 from season 2 with the old Gyotaro and Tengen episode, but I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do with the compositing for the Infinity Castle, which is the yellow lighting, orange lighting, how they're gonna play with it. Again, a really cool sequence with just basically a circle of fire and Tanjiro just in the middle, and then this old posture here that Tanjiro has, this pose here with him about to swing, really screams power. It's pretty unique as well. You don't really see those type of just posture while he is in the air and is about to swing. It's really unique, it's cool. And this whole sequence with Tanjiro cutting Urami's neck is super smooth, just like he's cutting through butter. It's a really cool sequence here as well with Tanjiro. We just see Tanjiro's face through Urami's eyes. Some really cool choices, and the storyboarding here is really good. And here it's just like in the manga, they basically use the same shot from the manga in the anime. It's a really cool shot from Tanjiro here, everything with his mark from his eyes to the blood coming dripping on his face, with how good the fire looks. It's an amazing shot. We get the eye catchers. I'm not sure if this is anything from the manga. It's some cool eye catchers, nothing too special about it. And by the way, in this episode we covered around 3 chapters from the manga, and 3 chapters for 50 minutes is really not a lot. So every scene in this episode has just been really extended a little bit. Almost every panel from the manga has been extended just a little bit, and obviously at the end of the episode we get almost a 10-minute worth of just anime original content. So again, this whole sequence hereafter with the sun coming up and Tanjiro being like, oh shit, Nezuko needs to go hide, is exactly as in the manga, but again it's just extended. So they're just really they're not rushing it, and they're making the tension super high, like the stakes, like everyone is just freaking biting their nails and everything, just because of how well the tension is made. You really think like Nezuko is in danger here. I think the music as well from Goshina, and just the music that Goshina is using here to build the tension, it's so good. I mean, I think the OSTs for this season has been one of my favorite. I definitely like the OSTs better this season than season 2, probably on par with the Mugen Train and season 1, at least for me. Let me know in the comments which season has the best OSTs for you. And then when Tanjiro is about to go after Urami again, because he just understands that this is not the real body, that was just Urami, another clone, we get this whole sequence with the sun rising here, which is so good, man. The how they used here the kind of 3D CGI a little bit for the grass and just the sun rising, it's such a beautiful shot, man. And then the music that comes in just when Nezuko gets hit by the sun, the way Nezuko burns, how it looks with the just yellow lighting and just our flesh burning is amazing. And in this whole sequence with Nezuko getting burned by the sun, the way the animated our eyes are definitely the best we've seen. I mean, our eyes looks just constantly amazing. This is one of my favorite looking shot from the episode, by the way. It's such a good shot. Again, here with the animation, the character movement, and just the character acting with the smoke coming off, it's perfect, man. It's perfect. And by the way, that was the last time that we see Nezuko in that adult form with her horn and stuff. This is the last time that we saw her. So, but here I think they really portrayed well how much Nezuko is in pain. The voice acting amazing with the instrumental and just her shaking. And again, this is one of my favorite thing of the episode, is how Tanjiro has to make a choice here between Nezuko and saving the villagers, and he's basically just in panic. He's having basically a panic attack, and I think they portrayed it really well with him just breathing super fast and hard. It's like I said, the compositing here with the sun and the lighting is perfect. How many times I'm gonna say perfect this episode? I do not know. Some really cool shot that they've been using here with Tanjiro really showing that he's torn apart. Like, I think they portrayed how Tanjiro really feels in that moment super well with his eyes and how they draw his eyes here. Here we get some cool character acting just before Nezuko kicks him, and when she kicks him, this is kind of how I expected it, is how she kicks him and then no sound. A really cool sequence here that they added that's not in the manga is Nezuko basically in her baby farm, which makes it so much more sad, the way she's just like a baby and a little kid. It's so like it's tough to watch, and the way they made her basically just clench her fist like this is so good. Now, me and a few other people kind of predicted that they would do Nezuko no Uta, which basically, in if you remember in episode episode 19 of season 1 when we get this amazing song which is called Tanjiro no Uta. We kinda expected that here it would be perfect for Nezuko having her own song just like Tanjiro did in episode 19, and they did. They gave us the Nezuko no Uta song here with the vocals. We don't get really much vocals in Demon Slayer, so when we do get some, it's so much harder, and I think this is definitely my top 5 OSTs from Demon Slayer. And here in the anime, just to make it so much more sad, and we're kind of seeing it from the perspective of Tanjiro, we basically get the whole journey with Nezuko from the start of the anime to where we are right now, which makes it so much more sad, and anime only here really thinks Nezuko is dying. Especially here when Nezuko closes her eyes and we switch to the amazing piano. I think this really hits so much harder because it really feels like, yeah, she's dying right here. If I had to really nitpick, which I don't really want to or need to, but I think maybe here this sequence with Tanjiro, you know, we get kind of this Tanjiro shot just a little bit too long, like maybe a 10 or 15 seconds too long, because we kind of get the same Tanjiro shot for almost 3 minutes, so maybe I would have liked it a little bit of a different, but at the same time, I don't know. And we get as well the classic Sotozaki shot where we see just a reflection through the character's eyes, and I mean, do I really have to say how good this looks? Oh man, definitely one of my favorite sequence, might be my favorite sequence of the whole episode, with obviously Nezuko, seeing that Nezuko is standing in the sun, but this whole sequence with Tanjiro just knowing what he has to do, he's gonna accept Nezuko's feelings and what Nezuko wanted him to do. So here it's a really cool sequence, the storyboarding, the music, how good everything looks. It's one of my favorite sequences in Demon Slayer. The music as well, man. Holy shit, the OST this episode. I don't know what Goshina was cooking this day, man. His freaking hands were on fire. Like, I don't know, my man was on fire this day. Holy shit. I mean, just listen to that. Not sure how I feel really about how the threads of what Tanjiro is smelling, how it's kind of brown. I don't know, I mean, it kind of makes sense because obviously Hantengu or Urami is gonna, like, his smell is gonna be disgusting and everything, so it kind of makes sense that it's not like nothing beautiful, so it kind of makes sense. But to me, it just like, it's such a contrast to how it looks right now with the sun and the grass and just how really beautiful the scene looks, and then we see this with this kind of just brownish, so it does make sense. In the manga as well, we don't see the threads like this, so you just kind of smells it. And obviously here we kind of see a glimpse of the transparent world. It didn't look how I thought it would, but again, this is not really the transparent world, so I just hope it doesn't really look like this in the future. Hopefully it looks more kind of beautiful a little bit than that. Here it's not as detailed, I don't know. Here this whole sequence is done by Kunihiro, and I'm gonna say it right now, Kunihiro is the MVP of this season other than Goshina. Kunihiro is a key animator. Obviously Abe is still my favorite animator, but Kunihiro is definitely my second. He's done so much this season, he's just been so much consistent, and yeah, he was almost the carry of the season. This is definitely one of my favorite decapitation of Upper Moon or just Demon in general. The way as well they made Tanjiro, how angry Tanjiro is so good. It's perfect. The way his eyes look, man, they look so good. Imagine how good they're gonna look in the Infinity Castle against Akaza when he does the move, if you know. This line as well where he basically says like, pay for your sins with your life, atone for this. It's such, oh man, it's so good. It's cool as well because in the manga, Tanjiro basically just cuts Hantengu's neck while Hantengu is in the art. Here in the anime, we see Tanjiro just cutting Urami in half, and then we see Hantengu just in the air, and while Hantengu is in the air, Tanjiro goes for the kill. When Tanjiro brings down his sword here, the impact is so good. Like the way it just feels so powerful with the sound design. I haven't talked about much yet, but I mean the sound design of Demon Slayer is one of the best, if not the best. And then we get Hatengu's backstory. In the manga, there's basically one big panel where we see everything from his backstory behind Hatengu. Here in the anime, here they just did a normal backstory where we see everything just, you know, in an order, where we see this blind guy saying that Hatengu is just basically a dickhead, and Hatengu is like, my ends did it. So yeah, we kind of understand that he's always been just a freak, like he's just fucked up and dead. It's really cool the effect that they're using in front of the backstory and just the compositing as well. It really feels like creepy, you know what I mean? I just love how the backstory looks in Demon Slayer in general, like the way the effects that they're using, that really gives such a unique vibe to each backstory. Insane sequence of basically Tanjiro cutting Hatengu's head off, beating Hatengu, and the music, the voice acting, amazing. It's basically kind of a mix between episode 19 when Tanjiro kind of cuts Ru's head off, mixed with when the boys cuts Gyutaro and Daki's head off. It's kind of a mix between those two in this sequence. It feels like there's a lot of weight behind the movements and just like force. So when Urami brings his arm down to just grab Tanjiro's head, but Tanjiro just doesn't stop and he just goes crazy, like no pupil, just like in the manga. It's really well done. Kunihiro, thank you. Then the whole sequence with Tanjiro, you know, breaking down because he thinks Nezuko is dead, and you know, he's on the floor, and the sun again, the lighting is just really consistent. It's cool as well here, this sequence where we're kind of in Nezuko's perspective, like we're in her place and she's walking toward Tanjiro. It's really cool. I commented on it in my reaction, but the way the grass looks, I mean, how the hell are they making the grass look so realistic? But at the same time, like, it doesn't feel out of place. It still looks like an anime. The characters fits really well with the environment. Here, it's something that I would have liked to see, but in the manga, when Tanjiro is breaking down, I feel like in the manga, it definitely looks more destroyed. Like in the manga, we don't see, you know, his white pupil in his eyes, and he really feels like he's empty. And here in the anime, obviously, he looks super sad, he's crying and everything, but it just doesn't look as good as in the manga, in my opinion. But then the whole sequence with Nezuko beating the sun and Tanjiro seeing her is, I mean, perfection. They couldn't have done this better with the camera movement. The compositing is at its best. The way the music, it's no words. Look at this grass! It literally looks like a movie. Like, it's literally movie quality. It's insane. It's insane. Imagine this level of quality for season 4 for the Infinity Castle. Yeah, don't get me started. The voice acting here with Tanjiro crying and Nezuko talking for the first time is exactly how I kind of imagined it, and it's really good. I love how Nezuko's forehead just grew as well. She beats the sun and her forehead gets bigger as well. No, but yeah, it's just funny. Like, her forehead looks massive. I mean, it's just a Demon Slayer thing. Even in the manga, like earlier in the manga, the characters had just massive foreheads. So, really awesome sequence with Tanjiro being super happy and glad, and Nezuko smiling and just seeing her talk. And I appreciate Sotozaki to keep everything as in the manga, because we get basically the exact same sequence of Genya saying that he's glad for Tanjiro and Nezuko and seeing him smile. I think this is the first time that we see him smile in the anime. I just love Genya, man. I'm really happy to see him smile like this. Then we switch to Mitsuri fighting Zoakuten. Just like in the manga, I'm a little bit sad that we didn't get much more extended fight between her and Zoakuten in the anime. Shout out to Zoakuten to just disappear without saying a word, or like his facial expression does not change. He's a G. Then we switch to Muzan, just like in the manga. Obviously, it's a little bit extended where we see the those girls, you know, talking to Muzan and asking him what's going on while there's books everywhere. And it's just like in the manga, we get the same shot, like him being happy and saying good work Hantengu because Nezuko someone has conquered the sun in 1000 years. And when he cuts the girl's head off, like in the manga, real cool. I really love the storyboarding as well here, where we get a shot from the outside of the house and we just see the blood appearing on the window of the door. It's a really cool shot. Muzan's voice actor and the music here is perfect with the red effect of him growing. Love that they kept the shot of we see through the girl's eyes, just Muzan transforming. It's a great storyboarding here. Muzan looks extra dope here. We can see his hair growing, we can see just his face changing, and it's always funny to see just demons just forming their clothes out of their flesh and everything. It's so dope. Voice acting from Muzan as well is so good. First time that we've seen Muzan talk like this. I'm sad that they didn't show this panel from the manga really, because I think that's a really cool shot from the manga. But we still get a cool sequence here with Michael Jackson just walking out of the room here. Funny scene with him just dragging his feet on the corpses as he goes out. And when he closes the door, we get the backstory. The classic Surara is such like the black and white. Oh man, every time they use black and white for the backstories, and the way that Muzan is the one narrating the story, I think it's perfect as well. They did extend the backstory here a little bit, where we see some interaction between Muzan and the doctor, and we can really see Muzan's personality even before he was a demon, was just a dick. And yeah, love the way that everything is black and white, but when he does get transformed as a demon, now we can see his eyes are red. It's a cool detail. Pretty funny sequence to me where Muzan is just like in his bed and he's like, I want to kill every living being. It's like, bro, chill, bro. You're just a sick man. My man. What did everyone else did to you, bro? I love this sequence as well, where we just see him dragging himself, like walking, like he already seems like a demon. Everything here with Muzan noticing that he has power is like in the manga. Again, here we can see Muzan's eyes now are red because he's a demon. Love the way this is handled, the thunder, how everything looks. This is a really cool sequence that I did not expect for the Muzan backstory, where we basically some guys with some arrows and some guys have some swords and talking to Muzan like, hey, you're a demon, stop that. And then Muzan is just like, hee hee, and kill all of them. I really love this shot though, with the blood, just the contrast of the blood. Every time they, not just in Demon Slayer, but every time we see some things where everything is black and white, but the only color that we see is the red. It's so cool. Especially love this sequence with the 3D arrows and the slow-mo here. Perfect. And obviously we can't really see it, but if you've read the manga, you kind of know what attack is using here with just his kind of tentacles. Here basically everything after that is kind of like in the manga, where he says that he needs to get Nezuko so he can conquer the sun. Here I'm not sure if I like this choice, where we just kind of see this red around just like if he's looking at her, which obviously doesn't make sense. He can't see Nezuko right now. He has no way to see Nezuko like this right now. I know some anime onlys now thinks that he can actually see her currently, but obviously if you've read the manga, you know that like he has no control on Nezuko first of all, so he can't really control her or see, like he can't really see her memories or just everything from her perspective, or just locate her like every other demon. Really cool shot here with the red hair, super dope, and it really hypes everyone now. Is super hyped to see how it's gonna play out in the future, because now Muzan is just set for Nezuko, and you know that everything changes from here on out, you know, it's not gonna be the same. Everything here with the characters interacting, what you were saying, thank you to Tanjiro, and them hugging each other is like in the manga. We do get an anime only sequence with Nezuko going like just in rage, like my man is just mad because of the sword. The hug here, like in the manga, the only thing that they add is Mitsuri noticing that Nezuko is under the sun and she can talk now. Everyone is saying Yokata, everyone is saying that they're glad that Nezuko is still alive and that they all survive, and they beat 2 upper moons in one night, so it's a huge win. But yeah, it's not gonna go as well in the future, that's for sure. And this is basically what we cover from the manga for the season 3. This is the end of what we cover, with the end of chapter 127, and everything from here on out is just some anime original content. Oh, one thing that I did miss is that the portion with Tamayo, normally in the manga we get this whole portion with Tamayo when Nezuko beats the sun, but here in the anime they decided to put it after. So this whole sequence with Tamayo saying that she got Nezuko's blood, and that Nezuko's blood is just constantly changing, and that even the guy that got transformed as a demon by Muzan in season 1 is now free from Muzan's control and he can just live off some blood. Good to see Tamayo back again. She's gonna have a big role in next season, and she's just a goat. She's a goat. Now the anime original content here is basically the swordsmith village being all destroyed, and we see the swordsmith just trying to get everything back in place with the swordsmith, even though here I'm a little bit confused because at the end they say that Tanjiro needs to put, you know, the blindfold on, and even for his nose, but to me it doesn't really make sense because in the manga we know that they're changing place, they're not gonna stay here, so I'm not sure why they're still doing that. But it's a cool little sequence where we just see them basically taking Tanjiro out of the swordsmith village, because obviously like he has no strength, my man needs to go sleep and get some rest, and we basically get a little bit of a conversation between Tanjiro and the chief. Cool little interaction. It doesn't really add much to the manga, but it's still, I think it was definitely needed for the conclusion of this arc. Not sure why Nezuko is in the box. Maybe it's just because she's just more comfortable here, or they just don't want to really take much chances, so they're just putting her in her box. Not sure why. Sequence with Nezuko here, pretty funny with him, you know, being shy, and obviously we know he's gonna take care of the 300 years old sword for Tanjiro for next season. This is definitely my favorite sequence that they added at the end though, is with Tanjiro leaving and seeing all the swordsmith thanking him. It's just a really cool sequence with, you know, Tanjiro deserves it. Tanjiro was probably the MVP of this arc. I mean, everyone was an MVP, you know, Moichiro beat upper 5 by himself. If Mitsuru wasn't there, we would be all dead. I really love that sequence, it's really cool. But this is where the episode ends, guys, and this is the end of season 3. I think that was a really good ending, a really wholesome ending, happy ending. We're not gonna get much more of that in the future. It's gonna be a long time before we get something like that, so we're gonna appreciate it. Like I said, I think that was the best episode. I would give this episode a 9.3 out of 10. They nailed the emotional side of the episode. The action side was really freaking good. The OSTs were top tier. Everything was just top tier. The voice acting was at its best. And like I said, my next video for Demon Slayer will be me ranking every episode worst to best. I will give my overall opinion on the whole season, what I like about it, what I didn't like about it, what were the flaws of it, and just comparing it to every other season of this show. So don't forget to subscribe to not miss out on that, and don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed those type of content. It does take a lot of time for me to do those videos, and I do plan on doing after that discussion for season 4, the Hashira training arc, what I want to see and everything. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. Let me know what you thought about this episode in the comments. I'll see you guys next time. Alright, see ya.